I kind of poo-pooed Serbia after the U.S.'s big win over Brazil. No, not to disrespect Serbia, mainly just to point out how well the U.S. was playing. Well, they did not play that well today. I mean, a few of the players did, right? But the Serbia, I mean, they were out of control. They were just firing on all cylinders offensively. It was not just Nikola Jokic. They had a big game from Bojan Bogdanovic, who he was fantastic. He, I believe, led the team. Yeah, led with 20 points. Jokic had 17, and then they had this guy, Alexa Avramovic. He had 15. He had 4 of 6 threes. He was great. Serbia, the reason they were able to build this lead was because they were drilling threes. They were moving the ball extremely, extremely well. U.S. was not defending very well at all. And so they were giving them these open shots, and Serbia was hitting them. Although they really Serbia in the fourth quarter especially kind of went cold from three. They finished at 15 of 39. That's 38%. I don't know what before that. I think at some point I looked in the third quarter, it was up over 50. So you see, yeah, they went cold there at the end. That was really what sunk them. But yeah, they gave the U.S. a really, really big test there, and they can breathe a big sigh of relief now.
Yeah, my notebook, it says they were at 1.7 of 11 from three, and I think that might have been at the end of the first quarter.
Wow.
This game got off to a crazy start, just really high scoring. And I did not poo-poo Serbia. We knew they were a tough matchup. We talked about it from the jump because they were the first team that the U.S. played in group play. But you would have thought a dangerous team might be a team like Canada that just had NBA talent up and down the roster. Not just talent, because a lot of these guys are talented. That's the point I'm about to make, is that Serbia, it's not like a roster where you look at it and it's all NBA guys, but it was players that you and I haven't really heard of, and they were just playing well. And yeah, like you said, hitting shots. And so I don't know if that was a matter of running out of gas or just you hit a cold streak and law of averages catching up to them. But they definitely made the U.S. work for it. And it was fun to see. We've talked a lot about what is Team USA's lineup and their starting lineup and their closing lineup and what to do. And so it's fun when they have a game like this where they're in crunch time and down double digits in the fourth quarter, and you get to see who's on the floor and whether that tells you just who's playing well that night or what Steve Kerr and the coaching staff actually think of these guys and who belongs out there and deserves these crunch time minutes. And it was very cool. I mean, it was LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and they've been the three best players in the NBA for how long? I guess that's a little rude to say to Nikola Jokic, who was also on the court with them and has won 3 MVP awards. But, when we talk about like guys in the finals and winning championships and, those guys have been such a huge part of the NBA for so long. And, Jokic is almost in this like newer wave of players that's dominated and won recently, like his MVPs and Giannis's MVPs. These guys are veterans. They're in their mid to late 30s. They've been doing this so long, and they're out there, and LeBron's flying around and doing it on offense and defense. And you can tell the rest of the team just sort of defers to him and respects him. And, he had that one play when he just drove like coast to coast and finished it when they had just taken the lead. And then I think that might've been the bucket that pushed it to a 2-possession game. Curry scored 36 points, hit 9 threes in this game. We talked about him before. It was his Olympic debut, which is surprising given how long he's been at the top of his game, but previous Olympics were poorly timed with him and some of his injuries. My guy Joel Embiid finally had his best game, and he was mostly great, although he had a couple of plays that were nearly disastrous. And so it was the kind of game where you can read into it what you already feel about Joel, because I was watching the Sixers fans I follow on Twitter were talking about how great he was playing, and the not Sixers fans were complaining about there was one rebound he should have had, and then it was his fault. There was a wide open 3 that he's very lucky a guy missed. But it was fun to see him out there, and I thought he played really well. Jokic got in foul trouble, and Serbia started missing shots, and the U.S. just made that final push, and then Steph Curry scored 36 points, and there you go. And Team USA is into the finals now.
I just want to go back to, because you had mentioned, that Serbia, you would expect a team like Canada with more NBA talent to be more of a threat. Well, Serbia, they don't have a ton of NBA players, and they even have, they have a few that are on the bench, like Nikola Jovic, not to be confused with Jokic. He plays for the Heat. He got like maybe 3 or 4 minutes in this game, but like they have guys who play at a high level in Europe, right? They have that guy Abramovich I just mentioned. He plays for Partizan Belgrade, a big club over there in Europe. But they have, more importantly, they have a history of playing together as a national team, right? Like, so this team won the silver medal at the last FIBA World Cup, I believe it was last year. I don't know, exactly what the roster composition was, but certainly, when at those kind of lesser tournaments, the U.S. sends kind of lesser teams, right? And so, not all of the guys who are on this U.S. team were on that World Cup team, whereas, more of the Serbians are going to be on that team together. They're going to have more experience playing together, and that's what leads to those things like the ball movement we talked about, where they're moving the ball around, they're getting those open shots. So yeah, like they had an advantage there in terms of just familiarity as a team. And then obviously you saw in that fourth quarter, the U.S. had that talent advantage come through with, you mentioned Curry with the 36. LeBron had a triple-double, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. It's the fourth triple-double in Olympics history. He had also done it in 2012. Luka Doncic did it in Tokyo, and then there was a Soviet guy who did it back in the 70s. But so, yeah, a historically great game from LeBron. You mentioned Durant. The thing that stuck out to me about him was he had this great defensive sequence with about 90 seconds left where he forced a backcourt violation. Like, when was the last time you saw Kevin Durant be praised for his defense? He's not doing a lot of that in the NBA. He certainly, in the playoffs, sure, but he's not doing that on a night in, night out basis. But when you're playing for your country, he kind of turned it up another notch. And yeah, that talent difference was eventually what proved to be the difference there at the end of the game.